Welcome to Deep Look, Ulti World's weekly radio show about the current state of Ultimate. We're a day early this week. It is Monday, October 20th, and we couldn't wait. We had to get the show done as soon as possible because it's Club Nationals week. It's the best week of the year. It's the best tournament of the year, and we are so ready for it. We'll be on the ground. Keith and I are still obviously at home. I fly tonight. Keith flies on Wednesday. And we will be on the ground all weekend, bringing you the stories and the action from Club Nationals. And I think we've got a great one in store this year, Keith. We have 3 potential Triple Crown Tour winners. It's never happened before. And while they do feel like strong favorites, there's just enough uncertainty that it feels like we could have a wild Club Nationals. I think there's a lot of good teams this year.
That is the key. I think that there are good teams. So it feels like even if those big favorites are the most likely individual team in their field to win, if they don't play well, there are plenty of teams good enough to beat them. And we've seen enough of highly anticipated teams struggling at points during nationals because it's a long, arduous path. And so as the field gets deeper and more talented, it gets more and more challenging. And so there are going to be surprises somewhere. We always know to expect the unexpected.
Well, I'm very excited. We're going to break it all down today. We're going to give our picks. We're going to talk about key matchups. We're going to look ahead to the bracket. We've got some Beat Charlie Challenge questions and spreads to pick, and we'll talk streaming and all that good stuff. So before we get to all of that, though, it is time for our trivia question of the week.
Charlie, you hit me with a pretty strong segue here. It's like you're a professional because you were just talking about 3 big favorites, potential Triple Crown Tour winners. And they're all the number 1 seeds in their division, as you would expect from teams that had their regular seasons they did. When is the last time that all 3 number 1 seeds won the title? How far back do you think you got to go to find all 3 number 1 seeds take home the title? Let
me think about it for a bit. You tell us about Breakmark.
File through the years, see if you can come up with something. I'll tell everybody about our friends over at Breakmark. Need to stock your team or just upgrade your gear for this season? Then you need to check out our friends Breakmark. They offer great gear bundles to save you money, and be sure to follow them on Instagram so you can take advantage of their weekly giveaways. They're giving away free stuff every week over on the Insta. And they've been adding awesome new products lately, like sleeveless hoodie, the new tights. They've got crop tops. Plus, they've dropped the price of their jerseys from $60 down to $35 for still sublimated gear. That price is only locked in through the end of the year, though, so make sure to visit breakmark.com before they run out and get that deal while you can. All right, 3 number 1 seeds this year, all looking for a title, all the favorites. When's the last time all 3 number 1 seeds won the club championship?
It is really hard to remember who the 1 seeds were. I'm not going to lie, because the teams that win are typically a top seed, a top 3 seed, maybe. There are exceptions, the year that Bravo won, they weren't top seed. I'm going to guess it was 2018. I immediately get the buzzer. I was thinking Pony was the 1 seed that year. And a lot of times the 1 seed wins in the women's division. Not always, but I don't really remember in mixed. And it's possible Pony wasn't even the 1 seed. Maybe they were it was Sockeye that year. I don't know.
No, Pony was the 3 seed that year. Revolver was the 1 seed. So
of course Revolver was the 1 seed
by Pony. Also in the women's division, Brute Squad, the number 1 seed, lost on Universe to Fury in the final.
Right.
You did get the 1 seed in mixed. Amp did pull it out, beating Mixtape that year. You got to go a little further back. Nick in the chat, going 2017. Had Mixtape that year as the 1 seed. You also had Revolver as the 1 seed in 2017, but Riot was the number 1 seed in the women's division. They fell in. That was the year they lost to Ozone in quarters.
Oh yeah,
Um,
wow, that was
you got to go a little further back. You got 2 out of 3 in 2017. You got to go all the way back to 2015,
wow,
where
10 years ago.
Brute Squad is the 1 seed. Dragon Thrust, despite losing a pool play game to Mixtape, comes around and beats Mixtape in the final for the 1 seed spot in mixed, and in the men's division, as was pointed out by Advanced Ultimate Coaching, was a Revolver year. Revolver running the table in the men's division.
Great stuff. Great stuff. I think, is this the most likely that we've had with like 1 seed favorites since then?
Uh,
Because I mean, I think Fury and Hybrid are probably the most favorited in women's and mixed that we've had in a while. The question is really whether Revolver and the much more open race in the men's division qualifies. I don't know.
I don't know. That 2018 year that you highlighted is a pretty good one. You know, nobody saw Pony just absolutely dominating Revolver coming. So you know, it's hard to remember how we saw Brute Squad versus Fury in that at that point. It's hard to imagine there was a big gap between the two. So this could be the year. Could be the biggest favorites we've seen in a while.
It could be the year. All right. Well, let's dive into our Club Nationals preview. Great to have you with us in the chat. If you're with us live, give us a like, give us a subscribe over on YouTube. If you're listening to this later in your podcast network, we'd appreciate a 5-star review wherever you listen to the pod. And we'll begin in the women's division. Let's take a look at the pools just to kick things off. Obviously, we've already had a chance to see these for a few weeks now, so we won't go through them in great detail because we've already talked about that. I think I want to focus more on where do you see spots for possible upsets. I mean, the women's division tends to be the one that goes to seed a little bit more often. There's a little bit more of a clear break between tiers in the women's division in most seasons. But there are some really compelling matchups this year. Obviously, Molly Brown was always going to throw a wrench into some pool. But I think even if you look down at the Parchas, the Sixers, even Traffic, like those 3 seeds are a lot punchier than maybe they usually are. So I'm curious where you go first, Keith, when you're thinking about what might mix things up in terms of who actually wins these pools, gets those pre-quarter spots.
As I think it's like, if you were to go with a guideline, like a general, give somebody advice on how to look at this across probably all divisions is true, but you're probably looking at, can the team a line below beat the team above? And that's probably generally true here. You're looking at, can the 3s upset the 2s? Can the 2s upset the 1s? And that doesn't hold across every pool, I think, in the women's division, but it is a nice little guideline to follow. Of course, your eyes are drawn immediately to the Molly Brown Pool C matchup because you have 3 teams that probably all feel like they can make semifinals in Scandal, Phoenix, and Molly Brown. And I think that's going to generate a great opportunity for upsets because you know how much is on the line for every game. You know you're not safe. You don't have really layups here. So you have to be on top of things because even if you get a round 1 upset as one of those teams, in the first matchup in that one is Scandal Molly Brown. We'll have that on the live stream. If Molly Brown even beats Scandal, they don't even know that is enough to secure them because they still have to take care of business against Phoenix and hope that everything breaks their way elsewise. So I think that pool is rife for potential upsets. We both think Sixers is also a compelling 3 seed. Parcha as well, but having Fury in their pool, it feels like Fury's probably out of reach of both Schwa and Parcha. So pool B also holds, I think, some of that drama. And then you're thinking about those 1 and 2 seeds, of course, in almost every pool.
Yeah, and I have to say, the more I've thought about it, the more I like Bent in Pool D. I really think that they could beat this Riot team. I don't know. I'm not sure if I should be so bullish about Bent's chances, but Riot's loss at regionals in the finals has me a little shook. I'm not going to lie. And they were already an overperforming regular season team with a young roster. Like that combination of things and an unsettling blowout loss to Schwa makes me a little bit uneasy about their chances of being the same team in October that they were in August.
That's definitely one of the key potential upsets that I'm watching for. And I will say it's kind of hard from resume for me to feel like I can construct a really solid case for Bet. They didn't perform well at the US Open. They played select flight East, which basically tells us nothing for the most part. They played PEC East, which was a million years ago. And, they did what they were supposed to at regionals. They beat Irish by 4. They lose to Brute by 2. I feel like that's kind of what you would expect from a 5-6 seed level team. So, I feel like we don't really have any evidence to support that this team is ready to take a leap forward other than what we thought coming into the season. But they also haven't shown us anything dispositive. Meanwhile, Riot has had a tremendous season, and the one pockmark on their record is a game in which they were already locked to make nationals. And despite losing that game, they still got a 1 seed in their pool, which is probably what they were hoping to do anyway. From everything I've heard, they were trying in that game. So I think we probably should say losing to Schwa in that fashion is concerning. It is a red flag, but ultimately, if that's the only real thing we're going to hold against them, I feel like they have the stronger evidence is, I think, in Riot's favor, even if they're the one that
let me
has
give you the
lost.
The Bent case is this: they only lost by 2 to Riot at U.S. Open, and at U.S. Open, they did not have Gina Cartagena, who might be a top 5 player at this tournament. I think that's a pretty big deal when you think about Bent's offensive efficiency and what they're going to be able to do. Now I think Jenny De Jesus out for the year, which sucks. But I do think that they have the firepower still, especially with some of the younger players who are getting better and better. Ella Jungst could have an amazing nationals. And I don't know. Just something tells me that Bent's going to win this game. It's not like Bent played pretty good at US Open considering they were missing their best player.
Honestly, my gut says the same thing too. Just my brain can't really back that up.
I get it.
I feel like I am unfairly low on Riot.
Riot was super legit.
They yeah. I mean,
you want to set aside
reason for this upset is what I'm saying.
You can set aside the U.S. Open results if you want to, because a bunch of teams were missing key players. But you cannot explain away that they continued to have a ton of success at Pro Champs when they beat Flipside, Molly, Scandal, Sixers, and Phoenix. They only lost to Fury. I mean, they have 2 losses this season to in-region teams that know them really well. They lost to Traffic back in July, early, and then they lost to Schwa. But they've beaten all of the out-of-region teams that they've played, except Fury. They definitely look extremely legit. I think they're really good. I think that's going to be a great game. I just think Ben's going to win that game. That's all I'm saying. Fascinating.
I think I'm mostly with you, but it should be a good one. Definitely one of the games to watch from pool play in general.
For sure. Okay. So where else do you look for possible upsets? Whether it's, close battles like this one, or are you picking something a little spicier?
Well, I mean, I already talked a little bit about Pool C. I think deciding the order you think Pool C is going to be in is kind of critical to making the layout of your bracket moving forward. And then, I'm looking at Pool B. I think we both feel like this Sixers team could look a lot different than what they looked like during the regular season. It's not the first time we've seen that from Sixers, with them integrating some talent from beyond just the Toronto borders. And they also, this was a World's year, so they had some time to focus on the Canadian championships. Maybe pushes back their cohesion a little bit, but the talent on the roster's there. Flipside has looked shaky, although they've shown some ceiling. They've been far from a consistent elite level team this year. So I think that there's real potential for Flipside and Sixers to go the other way, and their Pro Champs matchup where Flipside dominated means almost nothing to me, because I think you're going to see such a different looking Sixers team this time out. So maybe that's dismissive of the talent and experience on this flip side team that I think looked pretty good at regionals. Like they're going in the right direction, but it has been a wonky season for them, and I can't say it doesn't shake my confidence in them a little bit.
I mean, I, I think flip sides looked a little worse than they have in the past. But the real thing to me is that Lauren Kimura coming back and playing Sixers this year is a big deal. When she was last playing with Sixers, they went to semis 2 nationals in a row. And she looked like one of the best players in the world. And then she this summer looked like one of the best players in the world again, playing for Canada on the World Games. So we have not seen this team at full strength. And obviously, Brittany Dos Santos being out hurts them. I think with BDS, you're talking about this team as a possible like dark horse semis team.
Agreed.
Without her, I'm not sure I see that. Maybe they can get a favorable matchup. But I definitely think that they're going to be a scary 3 seed, maybe the scariest of the 3 seeds, possibly, and I mean this, scarier than Molly. Like, if Molly hasn't figured it out and they look like they did in the regular season, they're going to lose to Scandal and Phoenix by 3+ goals. And that might be it. They might lose in pre-quarters. Obviously, the talent is there for them to be way better than that, but they're going to have really cleaned it up. And it's hard to do that when things aren't clicking.
Yeah, in addition to Kimura, they're also getting Molly Wedge and Aurora Leshnik. That's a lot of talent to inject into a team at this point in the season. So and they've like we said, they've had experience doing this. I think they're going to know how to integrate players. Molly Wedge has played with a bunch of these players already, so it's not like it's going to be totally foreign to her. So I think the Sixers team is a scary 3 seed, and like ultimately, I think I'm going to end up picking them to upset Flipside in pool play. Although I think Brute Squad really seems to have their number, so I feel like Brute Squad's feeling pretty safe and is glad that they drew Sixers as their 3 seed.
Yeah, I mean, despite them not being in the same region anymore, Brute Squad obviously has a lot of familiarity with Sixers from years of playing them at regionals in the Northeast.
Yep.
Okay, should we start talking about like bracket hypotheticals? Because this is a really interesting piece of this too. There's not only the battle for winning a title, but there's also the WUCC action this year. And you really, really don't want to play Fury in quarterfinals. And I wonder if that will come into play for teams as they think about their path through pool play, because 2B and 3C will play in a pre-quarter and play Fury in quarters. Now, it's kind of interesting because Sixers, who is in Pool B, doesn't care whether or not they get to semis for a chance at WCC. They're already
get a
in
free
because
pass.
they're a Canadian team. So they don't really have this disincentive. Now, obviously, you still don't really want to play Fury, but at the end of the day, if you want to win a title, you're going to have to beat them sometime. So why not in quarters? I mean, that's one way to look at it. But is there like a weird incentive in Pool B to finish third, where you would cross over with the second place finisher in Pool C, which is going to be, probably one of Scandal, Phoenix, and Molly Brown, and then you would get the top finisher in Pool D, which is certainly going to be less scary than any of the other matchups, I think, the top finishers in the other pools. So, like, does that come into play, or do you just have to go out there and win your games and just let the results be what they are?
I may be biased because this is like how I approach it, but I certainly think that most of these teams are going to be trying to win their games, because ultimately what you're trying to do is play well right now, so you can be in a position to be, especially some of these teams that are like in a year like this where teams haven't had as many reps as a complete unit against the best competition. I think you're going to see teams needing these pool play games to start to build up some momentum into the bracket, and especially in a situation where there may not be as much delineation between the teams outside of Fury. Like, are you more scared of Phoenix than Molly Brown, or Scandal than Phoenix, or whatever? Like, are you gaining a ton of advantage by playing at one of those teams than the other? I don't know. So it starts to make the calculus way harder. And at that point, now you're like giving up control of something, i.e., how you play in your games, to kind of rely on things you don't have control over, which teams you're going to play against. So I guess I could see a team trying to fade Fury. Like, I don't think that's a totally unreasonable idea, but it's so hard to actually make those percentages fall your way because you're dealing with things that are beyond your control that I often don't think it's worth it. It creates a weird vibe around the team too, to, not put your best foot forward in a key game that you could win. Players are competitors. They want to win. So, um, I'm not really factoring that in, at least not in this division.
Yeah, it's a weird spot to be in, because if you're a team, like if you're flip side, you might be like, look, we probably can't win a title. Like, when's the last time they beat Fury in a meaningful game? It's like they just never can beat them. So do they maybe not care too much if they lose to Sixers and finish third in Pool B, because it gives them a path that is much more convincing to semifinals? Really an interesting spot to be in. And it's similarly true for the teams in Pool C. They have their own challenges. Like, any of those teams feels probably that they can win the pool. And Scandal's definitely the favorite, but it's not like Phoenix can't do it or Molly can't do it. Like, these teams have the firepower to win that pool. And winning the pool is such a massive prize that you almost have to go for it, even if it's like not clear from the outset whether that means that you end up playing Fury in quarters. So I think it's going to be something to keep an eye on as we go through pool play and matchups. Like, standings become more clear and the meaning of each game becomes more clear, because I do think you could have a spot where, in the last round, Scandal plays Phoenix. Like, what's going on? What's the meaning of that game? Like, if Phoenix is in a spot where they probably can't win the pool, but they could, if they lose, they finish third. And if they win, they maybe finish second. I don't know. It's like hard to come up with the scenarios right now, but you could have some weird point differential stuff going on in that pool. They could be incentivized to lose that game in order to get a better path in the bracket. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. In pool C, it definitely could play in if you're, try really making sure to give yourself the best odds to get to Worlds.
What we're not considering is that Heist has something going for them big time. 7 Thieves. We don't know who they are. Just broke into the Louvre in the middle of the day and stole priceless jewels. Who were those 7? Was it this Heist starting offensive line? We can't be sure.
We haven't seen proof otherwise,
We can't disprove it.
Yeah,
they're warming up for nationals.
And what an upset that is over the Louvre security. We'll see if they can pull off another heist. But I'm definitely looking at that 3. I mean, are you prepared to get into your picks here? I'm curious how you have Pool C shaking out.
Yeah, I am going chalk. Actually, I don't know how we will get there, but my final order of finish is Scandal, Phoenix, Molly, Heist. I think we could have a 3-way point diff situation, but I will stick with that order.
I do think that you could definitely end up with a 3-way tie, and I'm also thinking that's possible as I make my picks. But I feel like I have good vibes around this Phoenix team, and I don't have good vibes around Scandal. I do think that they match up pretty well. I think Phoenix getting Sarah Mextroth is going to be nice, but I think there's a lot of familiarity. I think these teams are not going to be like strangers to one another. A lot of personnel have played with both different programs, and I think that Phoenix is in a better position to take advantage of that. I'm actually going to take Phoenix to win the pool, and have Scandal second and Molly Brown in third and Heist in fourth. I just, the vibe is there for me.
Okay. I like it. what do you got going in Pool A? Are you taking? I assume you got Fury to win. How about Schwa upsetting
Yeah.
Fury? What a result that would be. What a result that would be. I'm not
Hey,
saying
Schwa's
it's going
got
to
some
happen,
all-time
but
upsets under their
they're a
belt.
little.
It's doable.
They maybe are a little scarier than we've kind of been giving them credit for. That win over Riot is. It's an eye opener. It's an eye opener. Um. Anyway, you got Schwa beating Parcha, or do you have an upset there?
This one feels like a coin flip to me. I think I'm ultimately going to ride the wave with this Parcha team that seems to have really taken the big step forward this year. Um, they've getting the win over Grit that they needed at regionals. They have some nice wins for the regular season over Phoenix and Scandal. Uh, those types of wins I think are fairly meaningful. So I think I'm actually going to believe in Parcha, who has the talent. Like there's clear talent on the roster. So it's not just like they're playing above their heads. Obviously Carolyn Normile is like kind of the centerpiece for this team. But Annalise Peters, Taylor Conroy, Sarah Liang, like this is a strong team. I think I'm going to take them. I think this game though is a total coin flip, but I'm going to side with Parcha.
I got Schwa winning. I'm actually like
You're bullish for
pretty
Schwa.
high on Schwa's chances. Yes, I am. I have them losing in quarters. I will say that, but I
You
have
can
them
still be
getting
bullish
through
to have the losing
three
quarters.
quarters. Yes. So yeah, I've got Fury, Schwa, Parch, and Nightlock. So chalk there. I have Sixers upsetting flip side, and that will be the one swap in Pool B. And I have Bent over Riot in Pool D to win that pool. So I'll just give you my whole breakdown. This is going to be in my Beat Charlie Challenge pick, so you can get a little edge about knowing what I'm picking. I've got Sixers, Molly, pre-quarter, Sixers to win, to face Fury in quarters. I've got Phoenix over Flipside in pre-quarters, facing off against Bent in quarters. I've got Riot beating Parcha in pre-quarters. They'll face Scandal. And then I've got Schwa over Traffic to face Brute. Then I've got Fury winning. I've got Phoenix
Well, you don't have to go through your
calling
whole
an
bracket.
upset over Bent. Yeah, let me give you my picks. I've
go
got
through the whole
Riot
bracket,
over
right.
Scandal. That's going to be my big surprise pick. I'm
Okay.
fading Riot in pool play, but I think they show up in the bracket and they get through to semis. And then I've got Brute over Schwa. I've got Brute and Fury in the finals. And Keith, come on. This Fury team is generationally talented. I've got Fury to win the national championship in 2025.
All right. You want me to run through mine or react to yours?
Whatever you want.
Okay, let me take you through mine, and we'll see where we differentiate. I should also note that I also am taking Bent over Riot in pool play. I'm also taking Grit over Traffic, in pool D. So that gives me pre-quarters of Molly Brown and Sixers. I'm taking Molly Brown. Scandal beating Flipside in pre-quarters. Riot getting revenge on Schwa in pre-quarters, and Parcha beating Grit again in pre-quarters. Believe that should give me Fury and Molly Brown. I'm taking Fury. Scandal and Bent. Like Scandal to advance to semifinals. I'm taking Brute Squad over Parcha. And then the one that I've went back and forth on so many times, Phoenix and Riot in quarterfinals. I think that could be a slugfest. But I'm going to take this Phoenix team to make it to semis. But then, like you, I will also have Fury and Brute in the finals with Fury taking the win. I think those are the two best teams, and I think Fury is like clearly the strongest. I don't think they're unbeatable, but there's just not another team I can construct as good a case for.
Some team's going to have to come out there and have their O-line play the game of their life. Because I'm telling you, Fury's going to give you the disc, and you can get breaks. It's not like you can't break them. They give up breaks. They just break you 6 times. So you just can't have that happen. I think they're beatable, but the defensive pressure that they've brought all season has just been immense. And I'm counting on them continuing to do that. All right, Keith. Definitely some there's a lot of order potential, and like the matchups that we get in quarters are going to be a big deciding factor on who gets through to semis. Um, who do you have? So you've got Fury and Brood, obviously. Who do you have winning the last WCC spot, assuming that there are only three?
So I guess that means Scandal against Phoenix for me. A rematch of a pool play game where I had Phoenix winning. Um, Phoenix is back in a bit. I don't know. I think I gotta take Scandal there. But
I have Phoenix versus Riot. Give me Phoenix.
It's crazy that somehow you're gonna end up with Phoenix in a higher finish than I am, despite the fact that I picked them to make semis.
Well, I also picked them to make semis.
So we have the same force. I thought you had Riot in semifinals. Oh, you had Riot over Scandal. That's right.
No
So
Scandal.
we have the same.
Yep.
We have three of the same teams. We both have Phoenix, but you have Riot and I have Scandal.
Yep. All right, let's keep it moving. We're gonna talk mixed. Let's take a look at the pools and break down what is a much more even, much less predictable pool play setting. These pools are pretty flat. There's not really like an obvious pool of death. There's a lot of question marks about even some of the top seeds. And there's definitely teams at the 3 and even the 4 spot in their pools that are punchy enough to win games, and who knows, maybe even win their pool. So extremely volatile, I think, outside of Hybrid, who I feel like feels pretty overwhelmingly the favorite in Pool A. There's just a lot of possible outcomes here. I'm having a hard time even deciding what I think is going to happen.
Then classic mixed, right? We're sitting here hemming and hawing because it's hard to figure out exactly who the next best challenger is, and then who you actually like believe in aside from the resume. Or like how deep your tiers go is a big question mark with this division. We're looking at teams like Sprocket and Tower as the 9 and 10 seeds, and it's not that hard to imagine them making runs to semis or beyond. So it's definitely a tricky division because it also, the top seeds certainly feel like they could be vulnerable to upsets. Hard division for me to pick outside of backing Hybrid for a lot of reasons. They look super talented. There are some teams that I am very curious about and think could do quite well. Looking at Pool D to me is like kind of the starting point because that combo of Shame and Dragon Thrust, those are two very experienced teams that have shown they could win, have a lot of talent, have both young up and coming players that they've brought in since their heyday, but also players who were holdovers from when the teams were championship quality teams. So they have that blend of experience plus like young ads and new faces. I like the talent on both these teams. Figuring out who's going to win that pool is hard, and then figuring out what's going to happen to them after that is exceptionally difficult for me.
Who knows, man? Like, Shame and Dragon is a total coin flip. I feel like Lawless is a scary 4 seed in Pool C. They could get a win there, and like, I think I believe in Toro, given what I've seen from the season. But I don't know. Something still unnerves me about them because of what I've seen in the past. But the talent level, it's a new Toro world. I love the possibility of wild things going on in Pool B because I think Disco Club and Tower have really high ceilings, and Exist has been really good, but they've also been prone to having kind of meltdowny nationals. So will they stay strong through very different challenges in Pool B with very different types of teams to have to go up against? And then, Sprocket looked really good at regionals. Are they actually the favorite to finish second in Pool A over Rally? Perhaps. And like Mixtape, scary 4 seed.
I mean, I want to go back to Exist and Toro as top seeds and kind of looking at Pool B and Pool C through their eyes because I think Exist has a really tough draw. I think both ADC and Tower are good, and I think there's a pretty like if I had to pick, I think MHT might be the best 4 seed. So this exists team that I think has the right tools, has a really tough draw. And then a Toro team that I'm a little suspicious of. Yes, they finally got the monkey off their back at regionals, but you look at some of the losses for this team, and you see the conferences, the sectionals lost to Brunch Club. You see a loss to Space Force, who's in their pool, right? Like those are the kinds of losses that you worry about Toro. They just didn't happen at regionals. So
We
like,
talking about
is this
sectionals?
team is this team for real? Well, one of those is sectionals. Not both of them were sectionals. Um, uh, but their pool, I'm not scared of. I'm not that scared of Slow or Space Force. So I if you flip those teams around, I would feel so good about Exist, and I would feel like Toro is primed for an upset. But this is how the pool shook out, so we got to deal with what's in front of us.
I am preparing to maybe fade the entire Southeast. I'm thinking about Pool C. I think that could go a lot of different ways. I really do. There's not quite the same, like there is still the avoid hybrid idea,
Avoid the number
you
one
know?
seed factor. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got 2B and 3C will play hybrid in quarters, assuming you think hybrid wins their pool. So that's the Disco Tower, maybe Mile High Trash in there, like who finishes second in that pool, and then the Toro Slow Space Force Lawless pool, who finishes third there. Do you want to try to avoid that? Do those teams think that they have a shot at the WCC bid? I don't know. I think it's less obvious that you should try to avoid hybrid compared to trying to avoid Fury. But again, I do think like last round of pool play, people will be considering what the outcome of their game means for where they will be in the bracket.
Yeah, and I also think I think because I highlighted that shame Dragon Thrust combo. If you theorize that one of those teams is going to be second in Pool D, I think you really don't want to face them. So the Pool A 2-3 matchup maybe holds some extra weight because you really want to avoid having to play one of those teams in pre-quarters. So Rally, Sprocket, or potentially Mixtape. I'm not putting it past them. Somebody's going to want to really avoid finishing third in that pool, in my opinion. Emmett,
All right,
Emmett
Keith.
says
Well,
in
I
the
went
chat,
first in.
he says, is Slow, isn't Slow pretty good? I honestly don't know. I think they look good when I watch them play, but I'm not going to say a 15-10 loss to Sprocket at regionals doesn't make me feel a little worried, That's a concerning result. They also have losses to like Rally and Toro this year. Um, I like the way Slow looks, but I also think they have some folks who can kind of throw them out of the game. So,
Low floor, high ceiling team.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
they could win this pool. They could
definitely
also.
possible.
I don't know if I see them losing this pool outright, not making the bracket, but they could lose in pre-quarters. So a swingy team, I think. Okay, Keith, I went first in the women's division. I'll ask you to go first here. Break down your picks. Let's get to it.
All right. So starting in Pool A, I have hybrid at the top of the pool. I'm not really worried about that. But what to do with the rest of this pool? I have that mixed division chaos vibe this year. I think that all of the like 2 seeds and down have had weird results throughout the year that make it feel like the seeding is not necessarily reflective of how good these teams are. I look at a team like Rally and Womp Womp US Open, right? They get just crushed at US Open. And they weren't even that great at regionals. I'm a little worried about Rally. The business with Sprocket. Now they have Taylor Johnson back. It is nice that they seem to be playing better at regionals. I think that's a good sign for them. Makes me feel a little bit better about them. So I'm not only taking Sprocket over Rally. Charlie, I'm going. It's not a fluke that Mixtape beat BFG. The kids figured it out. It took a few months, but when you have a team with all these kids on it, you should expect them to get better during the year, right? Now they're at nationals, house money, play with nothing to lose, get the vibes going. I'm taking mixtape to beat Rally too. So I'm having Rally washes out in pool play. So I've got hybrid sprocket mixtape in pool A. How's that for kicking it off with Spice? Do you like that?
It's nice.
All right. That is not the last 4 seed I'm gonna have win a game here in pool play. I'm also taking
Let's
Disco
go.
Club to upset Exist here. I think there
Wow.
was maybe on the show a lot of talk about Tower. Charlie laid out that Exist has had a tendency to underperform. I think their talent at nationals, they can kind of get in their own heads. They're one of those teams I feel like I'm likely to see yelling at each other middle of a game, and maybe that vibe is fine for them, but sometimes it feels like it's taking advantage of them. While this ADC team, I think, has a ton of athleticism and talent, they can really bowl you over with Joey Wiley and Joel Clutton and Matty Cannon, Low Guerin, also a tremendous player. They picked up Lexi Azalk this year. Like, this team is good. I'm taking them to win Pool B. So I have ADC, Exist, Tower, MHT in Pool B. Pool C, I'm taking Tower and Slow at the top. I'm taking Lawless over Space Force. I'm fading Space Force, and I think Lawless is a dangerous 4 seed. They're another one of those high ceiling, low floor teams. Like, they could lose their other 2 games by 10 and then play their one good game against Space Force. That feels like a very Lawless setting. So I've got Lawless finishing 3rd in that pool. And then in Pool D, I made it clear I think the top 2 are the strongest in the pool. I'm taking Shame to hold off Dragon Thrust, and then I'll have Amp over Conspiracy. Charlie's been pointing at this matchup. I think Conspiracy is going to prove to be overwhelmed, and I think Amp actually is solid. So I'm taking the chalk in Pool D.
I totally get that. Yeah, so I do have some similar stuff. So I am also gonna have mixtape making a pre-quarter and Rally missing the bracket.
What?
So I have hybrid sprocket mixtape Rally. I'm really high on Exist. I think they're gonna do really well this year. So I have Exist, Disco, Tower, Trash. So to seed there. I'm fading the Southeast. I'm fully committing. I'm going Slow, Toro, Lawless, Space Force. And then I've got Dragon winning the pool in D. I don't know what to pick. That game's a complete toss-up. It could go either way. I got a Dragon, Shame, Amp, Conspiracy. As much as I want to pick a conspiracy to make the bracket,
You were
I
like
just don't
talking
see
it
it
up that
happening.
Conspiracy is going to beat Amp.
I
Come on.
know. I still think that game will be interesting. I think that game will be interesting.
All right. So onto the bracket. My bracket here. I've got Exist over Lawless. I think that's a draw Exist is going to feel pretty good about. And despite me picking ADC over them, I do think Exist is good, just flaky. I've got Tower over Slow. I've got Dragon Thrust over Mixtape in what I think would be a runaway. And I just mentioned it. I think this AMP team is actually solid. I think after last year, everybody's ready to overlook them. The results are mixed, to be sure. Wins over Tower, lost to MHT and Shine. They lost twice to MHT and Shine. Fortunately, Shine's not here. And they lose to Rally 13-11 at regionals. Beat Port Authority 15-11. I get it, but this is a team still with a lot of talent. Linda Morse, Lindsay McKenna, Liv Steinberg. Like, this is a strong women matching group in particular. So I think this AMP team has some chops. I'm taking them to get the win over Sprocket, who, even with Tanner Johnson go, I think looks unreliable at best. That gives me quarters. I've got Hybrid over Exist. Tough draw for Exist. I've got Shame over Tower. I've got Dragon Thrust over Toro. And then I've got ADC over Amp. I feel pretty good about all those picks as far as their individual matchups go. That gives me Shame against Hybrid in semis and Dragon Thrust against ADC. I'm taking Dragon Thrust. I think I really like the young guns they have on this team, the trust that they've put in them. I think, what you're seeing from Emma Poyer and Shigal Gelfand and the Soul Flows, I think it brings a lot to a team that otherwise has a ton of valuable experience to lean on. I like the makeup there. So I've got them making the final. Uh, and then Charlie, let's do it. I think Shame is the team best positioned to upset Hybrid.
Mm.
Simon Montague, Maddie Russell, Jade McLaughlin, Nick Snuzka, Roy Velman. Like, this is a team that can really put out an offense that just is not going to get pushed around by Hybrid the way I see other teams get pushed around. They're super experienced. They have some real explosive players like Blaise Sevier in the mix this year. I think that this Shame team has what it takes. I'm going to take the crazy upset. I'm taking Shame over Hybrid in semis.
Wow.
I know this. I'm way out there with this one, but I like it.
Wow.
And then they wrap it up with the title over Dragon Thrust, beating Dragon Thrust twice at this tournament.
Wow. So shame to get their second title.
Yeah.
Epic. All right. That's bold. That is very bold. That is very bold. This Hybrid team is
Hybrid is loose with the disc though. They're the most talented team on paper, but they are loose with the disc and they rely on the fact that their O-line can often get it back. They also are good at generating.
And their defense is insane.
Their defense is very strong.
Their D-line O is elite.
And not that Shame is like the rock solid team that never gives the rock up or anything, but I think they have the potential to play like that for a game.
All right.
There are people from Shame saying you're wild for this in the chat right now. So taking my own confidence.
Not a great sign, Keith. Not a great sign that they're like, no, that's crazy. I've got Disco Club over Lawless in pre-quarters. No big shock there. I've got Tower to upset Toro. I'm full in on the Southeast fade. Okay,
I like that you
Robin
have a good
Fennig
angle.
carries. I've got Shame over Mixtape, and I've got Sprocket over Amp, though that game will be awesome if we get it. I just think Sprocket, like, we can't forget 2024 Sprocket. They were really good. Tanner Johnson Go is playing even better in 2025 than he did a year ago. It's really hard to stop them when he is touching it every other. I think Sprocket could do some damage. Okay, that gets me to quarters. I have Disco Club versus Hybrid. Give me Hybrid. Disco Club could put up a pretty good game there, but I just don't think they've got quite enough firepower to deal with how stacked this Hybrid roster is. I've got Dragon over Tower. The Magic runs out for Tower. They lose like 15-9. Big win for Dragon. I've got Shame over Slow, but I was really torn on this one. I think that game is very close, could go either way. I do have Shame getting back to semis, and I have Exist over Sprocket. I think Exist is just, they're that good this year. So that gives me Hybrid versus Dragon semi. I got to take Hybrid here. I don't know what to tell you. Like, Dragon has some really talented players. The problem is Hybrid's depth goes so far down the roster. I just don't think other teams are going to be able to hang with them. So I have Hybrid to the finals once again. I was back and forth on Shame Exist as well. Something tells me Shame is going to pick it up at Nationals. And so I'm not quite in the same camp that you are, but I am going to take them to the finals. I have them over Exist in semis, and I will take Hybrid to win comfortably against Shame in the finals and win their second straight title. We could have the makings of a dynasty in the mixed division, the first we've seen since Dragon back in the early 2010s.
Yeah, I mean, there really are, like, a dynasty in the mixed division is like a different thing than another division. It's like nobody wins. Most of the best teams have 2 championships. So Hybrid could immediately enter rarefied air if they win again this year, especially if they do it in the way that it seems like they will, which is just crushing everybody.
Tony Leonardo says, in 20 plus years, I have rarely seen a team as deep and strong in the mixed division as Hybrid. He wants to know if Hybrid even gives up double digits in the finals. Well, Tony, Keith doesn't even think they're going to be in the finals. So
Yeah, so no. Although I'll tell you what, they're more likely to get upset in semis than in finals. I mean, how many times have we seen semis produce the drama and then finals is the walk game, you know? Although sometimes the
yeah,
walk in the
all they got to
wrong
do is
team.
put the finals at night, and then we solve the problem.
I'm saying.
More on this
You're
later.
preaching to the choir.
All right. So Keith has Shame to win a title. I have Hybrid to win a title. We're going to take a break. Men's division talk coming up in just a moment, right on the other side of this commercial break. We'll also talk streaming, Beat Charlie Challenge, and we've got a great mailbag question from Tina Booth this week. It's Deep Look. Stay with us.
The game's biggest stars on the game's brightest stage. The world's most competitive annual tournament pits the playmakers and the game changers against one another in a weekend of action.
So many legacies on the line in this game.
Arguably the best player.
And that's just ridiculous. She's got it, and it's over.
Welcome back to Deep Look. We're talking Men's Division Club Nationals 2025. Charlie Eisenhood and Keith Raynor with you. Thanks for being with us. Let's take a look at the pools in the Men's Division. Revolver is the number 1 seed, where it's like we're back into the 2010s, Keith. Revolver, number 1. But they have an incredible challenge that they never faced back in the day, in the old era. With our new random draw and the increasing, unreliability of the regular season, they get who might be the second best team at the tournament in their pool in Chicago Machine.
Toronto go.
I want to start there. Machine Revolver Pro Champs final rematch. Don DeMarais did not play in that game. Machine this season has not lost when Don has played, and they have lost every time when he has not played. My question to you, Keith, is how does this matchup shake out this time around? I feel like this game, more than almost ever in Pool A and Pool Play, can shape the bracket in such a way that it totally changes who wins the championship. So I want to specifically talk about that game off the top, and I'll get your pick as well. Like, can Machine find a way past this Revolver team on day 1 of Nationals?
I think it's possible. Like, we did watch some matchup and we saw that Machine has the pieces, but we were watching them play incomplete. They're going to have some more reinforcements. With like McGuckin in the mix, and this Revolver team. We talked about it after that tournament. Sometimes looks like they have both the best O line and the best D line. Like I don't think trying to simplify it down to like, oh, if they had Don, they would have won. It really lends enough credence to how well Revolver's playing, and not saying that's what you're saying, but if there are folks who are asserting that out there, I do think that Machine's gonna kind of go back to the tape a little bit, but I also wonder about this Machine team's like with their mental game. Like it is not something that's always been their strong suit. They have had pieces in and out of the lineup this year. Are they going to be in the right place? Because it certainly seems like Revolver, it has that lockdown. Like they look incredibly unified right now. I'm also I continue to like half like a tongue in cheek think about that. I just don't believe in Machine at the start of the tournament. I think their talent's going to overwhelm in the end, but I don't know, man. It feels like they feel like that team that just they love to lay an egg early in the tournament. I don't know why I get that sense from them, but I think they're going to be really up for this game against Revolver. But this Revolver team is so good, so it's just how much are they going to chase it? How much are they going to pour in to this game? I don't know. I got to take Revolver in this matchup.
It is such a tough call. I do think I'm going to take Revolver in the end. But that doesn't mean that I'm not even sure yet how far I think Machine's going to make it in the bracket. Like, I'm like formulating my pick still as we go through the segment, because we haven't seen that much of full strength Machine. But when they have been at full strength, they have looked very good. Obviously, Revolver is tremendous, and I just like the consistency we've seen from Revolver. Machine is definitely a volatile team. I mean, that's been true for forever. I mean, remember when they lost to Freaks at US Open? Like, what? That was crazy. So yeah, I do have Revolver winning this game, but I think it could be an incredible matchup. It's free on YouTube, so don't miss that. Yeah, I think it's such a big game to win because of the path that you get moving forward. But I find it hard to make a decision about who I think is actually going to win that one. I could easily see Machine winning that game and Revolver winning the championship anyway. So should be a great one. We don't normally get a game of this magnitude on day one of nationals.
It's been a late trend to struggle in Pool A and then win the title. Pool A's been where it's at in the men's division, right? That's where Truck got theirs, where Bravo got theirs.
It's true. Where else do you look here? I mean, this is an interesting division as well, because we have this very heavy Pool A. I mean, we're not even talking about Sockeye, and they could upset either of the teams in front of them. That's definitely possible. Like, Sockeye is quite good. And
how much do
then
you have
that? Am I picking it? No. Do I think it could happen? Yes, I do. Are you you're not high on
trouble
Sockeye?
seeing them beat Revolver. I am high on Sockeye, but as much as I think Machine has that late egg capability, I also think this Sockeye team can be wishy-washy. Like, I think it's more likely that Sockeye loses to GOAT than it is that they beat Revolver.
That is fair. They kind of got murked by Revolver twice back at PEC West. I don't know. Machine's so volatile. They could have a weird bad game and lose to Sockeye.
That is definitely the volatility of Machine and the talent of Sockeye definitely could combine for a 2-3 upset there. I think that is definitely possible. Sockeye, like, when they're playing well, they're scary. That Eli Diamond, Deco Miller, Johnny Malk's trio, like, one of them is liable to just go off. And Ryan Shigley's playing really well this year. Garrett Martin can really rise to the occasion. Like, they have the pieces, but something about this team worries me. That they can get off kilter.
What do you make of Pool C? I know we've talked about it already with kind of Pony getting this sort of dream draw. I can tell you right at the top, like, I definitely have Pony winning this pool, but I think the combination below them could go any direction. Chain was so unconvincing at regionals. Like, I'm really worried about them. Pac-Man, I think understandably people are a little skeptical because they haven't been here before. They kind of had some regular season results break their way early. And then you have a Condors team that's like decent. They're a decent 4 seed. I wouldn't be shocked if Condors finished second in this pool. So what do you see there? Do you have a particular lean?
Well, Chain, I see the names on the roster. there are good players here, but they have not had a good season. And I think if you're just yeah, they got a win over Sockeye, and it's a good win, 15-11. And maybe that 15-10 win over Shrimp looks better after regionals. But just like saying, oh, they can't beat RDU, and so they looked a little rocky at regionals, I feel like does not capture that it has not been a good year for this team. Lost to Sub-Zero. They barely beat that skeleton crew that Johnny Bravo sent to PEC. They lost to Lafota. They got crushed by Rhino, missing their best players at US Open. They beat Machine twice when Machine was a shell of themselves. Like, the results here are not, there's not a lot for Chain to hang their hat on. That Sockeye win is like kind of their best result of the season. And altogether, like, despite the talent, like Brett Holzmeyer, Hayden Austin Nab, Kenny Taylor, Lucas McLamrock, Adam Miller is like probably one of the best club division players that people don't know is really good. I see it all there, but the results on paper are really worrying for me for this Chain team. And Pac-Man is the kind of team that, like, I get it. It feels like a bit of a meme because they're a new team and, their star players are either like these kids that everybody gets all hyped about in the Grossbergs or Alex Atkins, who like is a brand unto himself. I get it. I see how they could seem like a little bit of a joke, but they look kind of good when you watch them play. Like, they look like a real team. I know that they also don't have a lot of marquee wins, but they didn't get a lot of marquee games. They did lose to Sockeye in a game they should have won and then gave away at the end of the game. They also beat Shrimp and Double Wide. They lost to Mephisto earlier in the year. Like, yeah, it's not like the greatest resume on paper, but I think this team looks on tape like they, belong in the tier with, your Chain and your Sockeye and your Bravo. So, I think it's easy to tell yourself the story of Chain, the established team with a lot of big names on it, is better than this Pac-Man side, but I just don't know if that really holds up to scrutiny.
Yeah, I actually think Pac-Man's going to be pretty convincing in pool play. Like, they might even give Pony a game. I think they got a really good draw. I think that there's other possible pool draws that would have been a lot worse for them, and I would have them missing the bracket. But in this pool, I really like them to beat Chain and Condors. So, sneak preview of my picks. Another team I want to talk about a little bit. Well, really, let's just talk about the top of Pool D. Rhino has basically not played a full strength tournament. They were missing
Regionals,
the World Games
maybe?
guys. Yes. And they played great at regionals. They're obviously, we haven't talked about them that much this season because despite the fact that they won the national championship last year, there's this the prevailing trend of all these years in a row where we've had unique winners. So people, I feel like, come into the season at this point not really thinking that the team that won the previous year is going to win again. How serious is this Rhino team in your mind? And, they're going to get that early test against Ring. Are they right there with a Revolver or whoever else you want to put up in that category? Or are they clearly a step back because of the lack of reps that they've had together as a full-strength team?
Look, it's concerning that they have not gotten a lot of those key reps. Like, this is not the way you would lay out the recipe for going back to back. Although teams struggle with this all the time, so maybe they need a new recipe to do this. But being the returning champion and then you barely get to play together for most of the year, and then you're like, okay, we'll figure it out in the last month of the season. That's fine. That is not necessarily like how I would draw it up if I were trying to run it back. Which I am, but it's a different division. I think it is. It's not the script I would want, but to their credit, not only is this Rhino team incredibly talented, but they return almost everybody. So, like, how much can you pull back from their chemistry that they already established last year? They like that is, I mean, the defense against like the problem that you're running into with the Rhino side. So I to me, they're every bit the title contender. Like, they're like more or less neck and neck in my mind with Revolver, despite the fact that Revolver's been by far the better team this season.
Yeah, I don't think you can count out the fact that they're adding back like 3 amazing players, like literally World Games players.
And they
how that's
barely
gonna
lost anything from last year.
Right.
Like there's like 3 players of changeover, and they add Lucas Ambrose. Like talent wise, how can you not say this team looks better than last year's team?
Right.
You get Nick Stewart and Lucas Ambrose, and like basically don't lose anybody.
Exactly. Um, I I also want to talk about Ring for a second. They don't have that kind of upper tier firepower that scares you like a Rhino does. Yet, they have been extremely good this year and just don't seem to go away in games. They are always in games. If you give them the disc, their D-line gets breaks. Like they're hard to kill. How far can they go with that kind of like top to bottom depth, but maybe not the top end that really scares you? Like, can they go to semis? Or are they going to run out of steam against one of those teams with a better top end?
I see a lot of what you see, I think, in this Ring team, which is that like I don't feel like they have a ton of ceiling. To me, they're the tester team. They're the dividing line. You got to be able to beat Ring if you want to be in the running. But like they can't really summit much above that, is how I feel. They don't feel like a team that can go out there and beat one of the title contenders unless that title contender's off their game. But they're so steady, they can be so steady that they can beat teams like that by just, they have a great handler core that doesn't need to take a lot of risks. They are smart with the ball. They play great defense on both their O-line and D-line. Play really solid defense. They're going to make you work for scores. They're solid up and down the roster. These young guys are getting bigger and bigger reps. Guys like Matt Barcelos getting key D-line reps. I think that this team is a good test. They have a couple rule breakers, a couple guys who like are allowed to go out there and make big plays, like Trevor Lynch. So I think they're a great tester team. They're the kind of team that will get you if you are not ready. But I don't know if they go up against the elite teams and those teams play their A game. I just don't know that I see a team that can take it away from them in this ring side.
Well, let me get to my picks, and I will talk more about Ring along the way.
Yeah, just don't go all the way through your bracket. Stop after pool play. We'll switch off here.
Okay, you got it. Pool play. Pool A goes to seed. Revolver Machine, Sockeye Goat. No crazy stuff here. Revolver beats Machine in a close game. Revolver Machine both handle Sockeye pretty comfortably. Goat clearly looks like the worst team in the pool. Pool B. I have Truck playing really close against Dig, but losing. So I do have Dig winning the pool. Truck in second. I have Red Tide over Bravo. Am I crazy? I don't know. For some reason, every year I get to Nationals and I'm like, I don't know about this Bravo team. And some years I'm right, and some years I'm very, very wrong. But this just feels like a year where Bravo maybe just isn't it. Now, I have no real reason to believe that Red Tide can beat them. But, with Quinn Finer, like a question mark, I don't know. Red Tide's offense is pretty good. They got some dudes. Give me the crazy upset. Give me Red Tide to pre-quarters. Pool C, Pony wins easily. As I said before, I've got Pac-Man going through. I have Condors over Chain. Tough season for Chain, and
you're really faded the Southeast.
I'm just
never
dunking the Southeast into the grave. But and Ring. So we'll talk about that.
Okay.
And then I have Sub upsetting RDU. Otherwise to seed. So Rhino, Ring, Sub, RDU. Yeah. Rhino Ring should be a great game.
I kind of think it will, to be honest. I see Pool A like basically identically to you. I have it to seed. And I think it'll go pretty much the way that you said. Pool B. Oh man, Charlie on the Bravo fade, and me, I'm believing in Bravo. I feel like I've seen what I need to see from this team, that they're volatile. Shocker that they're a volatile team. Yeah, we saw them play up at Pro Champs and then down at regionals. um, I think that the suffering of this team through the regular season is actually going to pay off. Like, I think that the depth is going to be a little more solid. They've had a chance to let some new guys like emerge. I think Zeke Thorson probably being the prime example of somebody who's taken a big step forward. But I think Nottingham and Fink is another player who's gotten a lot of great reps for them. I think it's going to benefit the team to have those guys feeling more confident as they go into this trial by fire. But then, they'll be able to lean on. I've sang the praises of Cody Spicer on the show. We were doing our top 25 rankings, and Grant Lindsley. I think that's a great duo to backstop the team with or without Quinn Finer. Jonathan Nethercutt, who knows what he's going to throw? Could be a turnover, could be the best hammer you've ever seen in your whole life. But the team's willing to try it and ride with that. I like Bravo, and in fact, I think I'm going to take them to beat Truck in pool play. What's the men's division at nationals without a great, ridiculous Truck Bravo matchup, right? So I'm going to take Bravo to beat Truck. I'm still can't decide if I think Truck also could beat Dig and we end up with a 3-way tie. But I'm ultimately just going to not say, and I'll have Dig, Bravo, Truck as my final standings in Pool B.
And you've got Red Tide getting destroyed.
I mean, I didn't say all that, but I think they'll prove to be a solid team. But
I'm already going back on my own take here.
We'll see. I have to seed. I think Jane's good enough to still beat Condors. Although that Condors team, man, they have a way of being feisty. So I don't think they'll be an easy out. And then Pool D, I also have Sub over RDU, which is less a commentary on RDU than it is that I think Sub's pretty good. And Charlie, if we are going to see the lack of Rhinos cohesiveness come into play, why not against my test team in Ring? Like I said, I think Ring's good enough to beat the best teams if those best teams don't play that well. And I think Rhino has their rough game against Ring. I'm taking Ring to win the pool over Rhino.
Wow.
So I've got Ring, Rhino, Sub, RDU.
Okay. I'm bailing on Red Tide. I'm sorry. I really wanted to talk myself into it, but I can't do it.
I was just in Maine for Lobster Pot. It was awesome.
These challenger teams
are good.
I know. I want to see them do well. I hope they have a good tournament. I hope they win a game. It's too hard to go up to this level. And I'm not super high on Bravo this year, but I can't commit to what I just said. So I have Bravo finishing third in the pool.
I love a good capitulation.
All right, so let me get I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Matty Jackson, by the way, somebody said Jacob Fairfax is top tier IMO, talking about Ring. And fair enough. But like other teams have like 3 or 4 guys you're really scared of. And I don't know if that's quite true of Ring. Like they have a lot of really good players, but maybe not like that upper echelon. But Matty Jackson said Jacob Fairfax is Bravo's father, which I like that. Truck Condors is my first pre-quarter. I have Truck winning that game. I have Pac-Man over Bravo. So there's the Bravo fade. I've got Pac-Man making quarters. I've got
the Atkins
Ring over
revenge
Sockeye. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? That game might have to get showcased field. And then Machine over Sub. Can you imagine how much shit talking Alex had? He'll like manage to make enemies of his former teammates if that game happens.
Just four
have
Bravo players affected.
Machine over Sub, which gives me Truck Revolver, Pac-Man Rhino, Ring Pony, Machine Dig. let's go back up to the top. I'm going to give you my quarters, and then you can go, Keith. Nightmare matchup for Revolver. For
Whoa.
years, Truck has been the team that has had Revolver's number. They've already beaten them this season. The only loss Revolver has taken this year is to Truck. And I have it happening again. Revolver gets stunned in quarterfinals, a la the year they lost to GOAT in quarterfinals. Truck finds the rhythm. They figure it out, and they beat Revolver in quarters. A game that they have been looking to win for so many years. Like this is the revenge for that loss all those years ago when they lost on Universe to Revolver in the Ashland to Bow, snipe shot to close it out. So that's my first quarters pick. Then I've got Rhino easily over Pac-Man. Great draw for Rhino. They'll cruise. Pony Ring. Nightmare matchup for Pony. They've literally lost in this exact spot. Is it twice that they've lost a ring in the last couple years? But this is the same scenario. Pony with a really weak pool, followed by their first hard matchup coming in quarters to ring. It is not where they want to be. They've already lost a ring this season back at Pro Champs. I think ring wins here. I think ring's depth and their style gives Pony trouble. And remember what a big favorite Pony was when they lost to ring? And it ring is so tough. They're tough as nails. I have ring beating Pony to get back to semis. And then I have Machine over Dig in what should be probably the best game of the quarterfinals round. So I have Truck, Rhino, Ring, Machine in semis.
Wow. Ben Dameron and Anders Joksten in shambles, just like legacy destroyed in one single quarterfinal round by leaving Rig to play with Pony and then losing to them. That's some spice, Charlie. I can only hope that quarterfinals is as awesome as you're drawing it up to be. All right. So my pre-quarters, I have Bravo beating Chain in pre-quarters after finishing second in their pool. I have Truck with their regional win over Pac-Men. Speaking of regionals, I've also got Rhino over Sockeye. And then I have Machine beating Sub. So that gives me quarters, Revolver versus Bravo. I'll take Revolver. I've got Truck and Ring. That to me feels like a bad matchup for Ring. So I'll take Truck. I've got Rhino over Pony. And I've got Machine over Dig. Again, what should be a really good quarterfinal. So my semis are Revolver and Truck and Rhino Machine. Where are you at?
So I have Truck, Rhino, Ring, Machine. I've got Rhino going back to the finals. They beat Truck. Big ball over small ball. Not that Truck is really truly a small ball team anymore, but I think Rhino's talent level is being slept on because of the weirdness of their regular season. On the other side, Machine star power enough to overcome a feisty Ring. I've got Machine and Rhino in the finals. And what do you have? And then we'll make our announcements of the final picks.
I've got despite the matchup, the story that you've told, I have Revolver over Truck in semis. And then I have, like, to me, the matchup of the season. I have Rhino against Machine in semifinals. And I'm with you that the talent on Rhino is every bit to the level of Machine, and I think that takes away their biggest edge. And instead, Rhino's chemistry and experience is enough to overpower Machine. So I've got Rhino into the final, taking on Revolver. I've got my two favorites going head to head.
I've been going back and forth, but I'm committing. I have Rhino to repeat, to become the first men's team to repeat in almost 10 years. And we didn't really see it. Felt like we saw it coming last year, and people aren't going to see it coming this year. But turns out when you have that many really, really good players, you can overcome not getting tons of reps together, especially when you already know your systems from the previous season. So give me Rhino over Machine in what might be an instant classic.
I also am having Rhino run the back-to-back.
Wow.
I have them beating out Revolver. I do think they're the more talented team. I think that the penance they pay for their lack of cohesiveness is a tougher path because they lose in pool play. But with the extra reps, they figure it out. They lock back into last year. They figure out where to put the new pieces, and they take an even more talented roster and finish this thing off. So I've got Rhino going back to back as well.
Wow. Crazy. So recap. I have Rhino winning. I have Hybrid winning. I have Fury winning. Keith?
I have Rhino winning. I have Fury winning. And then the shocker, I have Shame beating Hybrid in semis and then winning.
All right. Those are our picks. You can win prizes by outpicking me. It's not easy to do. I've never finished in the bottom half. It is not easy. And I regularly finish in the 80th plus percentile. I am still looking for the outright win, I must say. So take me on in the Beat Charlie challenge.
Beat Charlie. It's not the tie Charlie challenge. You better beat this man. Don't tie him.
Let's talk Beat Charlie challenge right now, Keith. There's some
wait.
Additional
There's one last piece.
Well.
There's one last piece. Batch asked a pertinent question. Who finishes third in your men's division picks?
Yes. I don't know if we did that for mixed either. We should do it for both.
Sure.
In the men's division, so that would mean I have Truck and Ring playing in the third place game. I'll take Truck.
I have Truck and Machine, and I'm going to take Truck because I think Machine would just be so devastated. I think they might not even know that it's a world year. I think they're so
they just
they would be brutal.
We're both picking the repeat, going against the trend. All right, how about in the mix side?
I've got Hybrid and ADC. I'm taking. I guess I could say that Hybrid's going to be so devastated, but I think they're still good enough to win third place. So I'll take Hybrid.
I have Dragon and Exist. Give me Exist.
All right, we got our third place picks in. Good.
Very good. All right, Keith, Beat Charlie challenge. There are some extra things you have to pick alongside the actual brackets. What is in store for me to make my official picks right now and go through some of these spreads and things?
Okay. So Charlie, your Beat Charlie challenge picks. So your first pick, how many pool play games will the 4 seeds win? The teams from pot 4.
Across all 3 divisions.
Your options are 1 or fewer, 2 or 3, 4 or 5, or 6 or more.
I'll go 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think the number is 3.
Three's a good number. 3's a good one. I don't know where I'm going to go here. I guess I could just look at my picks. You have to -1 from your picks because you took back Red Tide's win. So
that's right.
Don't forget that. Next one is, how many total games will the pool play winners lose in pool play? How many total games will the pool play winners? So teams that actually win their pools, how many losses will they have between them?
That's hard because sometimes they're going to be 2-0 teams that have a meaningless game and they'll sit their starters.
Your bands are 0 and 1, and then 2, 3, or 4 or more.
Give me 4 or more.
4
I think I can get a little crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah. What's it? Okay. What was it last year?
I have no idea.
I should look. I reserve my right to change my pick if I look at last year and I'm way off base.
I have last year's in front of me. Undefeated in the men's division. 1 loss in mixed, which was Sprocket, and in the women's division, undefeated. So It was 1.
Okay,
last year.
I changed my pick. I changed my pick to 2.
Okay. I felt like 2 is a lot. Okay. Next question on the Beat Charlie challenge. Folks are getting the preview here, so they'll know exactly what to pick. All right, one of my favorite questions. Will a team trailing at halftime of the final come back to win? Yes or no?
No.
All right. And then on to the spreads here, Charlie. Scandal Molly Brown. Does Scandal win by 4 or more? They win by 2 or 3, or Molly Brown +1?
Tough. Scandal by 2 or 3.
All right. I think I might go for the Scandal blowout here. Maybe that's crazy, but all right. Exist Tower. Exist by 3 or more. Exist by 2. Exist by 1, or Tower.
Exist by 3 or more.
Exist blowout. All right. Revolver by 2 or more. Revolver by 1, or Machine.
Revolver by 2 or more.
And Shame Dragon. Shame 2 or more. Shame or Dragon, either one, by 1, or Dragon by 2 or more.
Wait. I can get either team to win by 1?
Either team to win by 1.
I'll take that.
Okay.
I like that I get kind of the
You get either side of the coin, but it's got to be a one-point game.
it's a nice I hear you. I like that though. I mean it already was this season. I see no reason it can't happen again.
All right, the last part of your picks for the Beat Charlie challenge is picking your leaders in each division for goals and assists.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So you get a point if they finish top 5, and you get 2 points if they finish number 1 in their division.
Let me go Cartagena to lead in assists. Claire Trope to lead in goals in the women's division.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. In the mixed division. I don't know. Give me Jade McLaughlin to lead in goals. And
exactly what
I think it's just easy money to go on exactly what happened last year here and take Travis Dunn to lead in assists.
Okay. And in the men's division?
You also take Jade?
I mean, that to me is the goals pick that's going to come to mind right away. I think that's probably what I'll take, but I haven't decided.
Okay. Assists, huh? I don't know. Give me Johnny Mulks to lead in assists. And Don DeMarais to lead in goals.
All right. Okay, so we have all of Charlie's Beat Charlie challenge picks. I do have a couple more bonus questions from the game. I think I have 5 questions from the game. You ready? You ready to take those on too?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Will one of the showcase games go to Universe? That's Scandal Molly Brown, Exist Tower, Revolver Machine, and Shame Dragon. Will we get a Universe point share?
Obviously. Yes. We'll look at the full streaming schedule in just a minute. Absolutely yes.
Okay. How many teams from the you can just look at your picks here, so this gets easy. How many Northeast teams reach semis? 3 or fewer, 4 or 5 or more. All divisions.
Across all divisions. Northeast and semis. Let's see. I have 1 in mixed. I have 1 in women's. and I have 0 in men's. So what were the choices?
Three or fewer, 4 or 5 or more. So you're going 3
Yeah,
or
3
fewer.
or fewer. 3 or fewer. Yeah.
Because by seed,
feel
I
like
think
that-
it should be 3, right?
Category is a little too high. Yeah.
I guess by seed it's 4. By seed it's 4 because Brute Squad,
Okay.
Dig, Pony, and Exist. So
Wait, did I miss Brute? I might have missed Brute. I think I still think I take 3 or fewer.
because you take 3 in that case. All right. Will there be any of the okay? I'll give you the question. Will there be a completed greatest Callahan or ejection during semifinals? No, none of those will happen. Yes, one of those will happen, or more than one of those will happen. Greatest Callahan ejection
Callahan or ejection.
semifinals. None of them, one of them, or more than one of them.
One.
One of them. Which one?
I'm not going to say.
Okay, just curious. All right. This is another one. You can just look at your picks. How many pot 2 teams reach semis?
Pot 2
think you had-
teams in semis.
You had Truck, Ring, and Machine, right?
And Dragon.
Then you had Dragon, so that's 4. And you had Phoenix, that's 5. So you had 5.
Yes.
Which is the highest you can pick.
What are the choices? 4 or more?
Your choices
I'll
are
definitely take 4 or more.
one or none, 2, 3, or 4 or more.
Yeah, I'll take 4 plus. Easy.
Okay. And the last one, which one of the pot 4 teams will have the best point diff in pool play?
Pot
Which
4
bottom
teams,
seed?
period.
Yeah. Who has the best? I think you're probably on Sub-Zero because you actually had the winning a game, but maybe not.
Or
Maybe you have them get
Lawless?
dogged. Or Condors. You had Condors winning too.
Or Mixtape or Condors.
Yeah. Or maybe you think somebody loses all their
I'm
games
gonna go
really
Condors.
close. Maybe
I'm gonna go Condors. Yep.
This is another one of
I
my
think they could
favorite
hang
questions.
in all those games.
All right, that is your full slate of picks in our games. Charlie's also in our Fantasy Ultimate. Go play against us on fantasyfrisbee.com. Join the Deep Look leagues and compete against us. See if you
How many
see who
people in
you
the
can pick
leagues right now?
better lineup. Around like 150, I think.
All right,
each league.
folks, get in there. Get in there.
If you were in the women's division league, jump in that women's division league. Where's it?
You
Where's
can
the
win.
brother
You
picks
can
at?
win a multi-world shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to follow along with this as we go through the tournament.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have live updates in the Discord. Fantasy Frisbee is trying to put together a bot that will update like the top scoring players and who has the top scoring lineups. So you can truly follow along as opposed to waiting for me to update the spreadsheet at the end of the tournament.
Awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Let's take a look at the streaming schedule. We've got so many games coming your way. There will be a showcase game every round, plus 4 games on Field Pass at a minimum. Those games will all be streamed individually as well for all access subscribers. So if you get an all access subscription or an event pack, you will be able to watch each of these games individually. We will also have the main Field Pass broadcast with the multi-game view and the commentary alongside the showcase game. That's available to everyone, including standard subscribers. And so here's the start early Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time. We kick things off with Scandal and Molly Brown on the showcase field. What a way to get it going. And we've got Hybrid versus Sprocket, rematch of the 2024 National Championship game, Rally Mixtape, and an important game over there in Pool A in the mixed division. Ring, Sub-Zero. We'll see what Subs got bringing to the table, and Slow Lawless. That is your Field Pass matchups off the top. Don't forget, we will have a free Field Pass broadcast in round 2. And we will have a Revolver Machine for free in round 3 on Thursday on our YouTube channel, which you might be watching right now. So make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more free games. We look at that. If you're not subscribed, we know this, and we will take games away. Don't forget, for the first time at Club Nationals, we will also be debuting Inside Out. This we had at College Nationals. It's our pre and post game show. After every Field Pass round, we'll have a broadcast going all day long. We've got so much fun stuff to do. We're going to talk games. We're going to make picks. There's some fun segments, analysis, and more. That's hosted by Patrick Stegemeller and Katie Gear, longtime Ulti-World reporters and analysts, and they're going to hold it down all day Thursday and Friday. We will begin probably around 8:40 a.m. Pacific time on Thursday to get you ready for the start of Field Pass and the entire Nationals broadcast. So that will be rolling all day long, and that's available to anybody standard subscription or above. Keith, what are you most excited about on the slate here?
Well, if you have a subscription and you want to get me excited, go to the Discord and spam tagging Charlie that he should drink Malort during Inside Out, like live on camera. That's what I want to see. That's the number one matchup: Charlie versus Malort. Let's make it happen, people.
Oh God. I will also note, I have procured a selection of increasingly spicy peppers for the Inside Out show. And I will just let you know right now, there's going to be a ladder, a pepper ladder that will be advanced anytime there is a greatest during pool play or pre-quarters and quarters. So keep your eyes peeled. If you know of a greatest in a game that's not streamed or is maybe not, no reporters at, you got to come let us know. There was a greatest in the 3-4 matchup in Pool D. Swing by the Field Pass broadcast tent and the Inside Out table and let us know. We're going to keep the counter going, and Pat and Katie might get put through the ringer.
Oh my gosh. That's I'm glad it's not us. We paid our spice credits, I feel like. So, although Pat was there with us, so I don't know why he's doing it again. On to the matchups
from
here.
The American heartland. So many spicy peppers.
I mean, after our picks, I can't lie. I got to see what's happening with Mixtape and Rally, because we both picked Mixtape to surprise and Rally to have a big disappointment. So we get that tested immediately as soon as we land, basically in San Diego.
Exist Tower, second showcase game, and a bunch of great games on Field Pass, including Schwab Parcha. That's going to maybe be the highlight of that round. Let's go to the next slide here. Revolver Machine will be on the showcase field. This graphic is outdated. The free-to-watch game will be Revolver Machine, not Shame and Dragon. And then we'll have Chain, Pac-Man, Truck, Bravo, Phoenix, Molly. What a game that will be. Flipside Sixers, huge game in that pool over on the Field Pass. And remember, we have multiple roving cameras that we will send to games that we don't have on the showcase field that are close. Field Pass at Club Nationals tends to go extremely hard, so we hope you join us for the entire weekend. And then in the final round, Shame and Dragon, Riot Bent, Dig Truck, Rhino Ring, and Amp Conspiracy. That will wrap up pool play day one. I'm so hyped, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games. I'm looking at a lot of games on Field Pass that you and I said the lower seeded team was going to win. So our butts are on the line here.
All right, before we go, it is time for our mailbag question of the week. Keith, what do we got?
All right, this week's mailbag question of the week has to do with taking in Ultimate at tournaments as a fan, as somebody who's there to enjoy the sights and sounds. So Tina asks, what can Ultimate do to enhance the fan-player family experience at their tournaments? This is a long-standing gripe of Charlie and I's.
Yeah, and Tina was drawing the contrast to disc golf, which just had its U.S. championships last weekend. And, there were, I don't know exactly how many people were there. Probably 4,000 to 5,000. They have a massive vendor village. They have a stage with live music every night. There's 14 food trucks. There's all kinds of pomp and circumstance, Hall of Fame induction ceremony, uh, incredible, just like fun things to do. Disc golf course, multiple disc golf courses to play, like a little putter course and then like an actual course. Um, and then of course the competition itself. I mean, it's genuinely like a festival type of vibe. Now, look, I can acknowledge that ultimate fandom is not in the same place as disc golf fandom. I don't think that you could just like, if you, let's say that USAU decided to pull out all the stops and build something out like that. That's not going to instantly yield a massive 5,000 person crowd for club nationals. It's just not. But can we do something? Can we do anything? Like, what is it that we do right now for the fan experience? Like, yes, there's a couple of food trucks. It's not a great setup. There's a merch tent. It's fine. Like, but there's not a lot of other stuff going on. There's no real like things to do with your kids. Like, there's just the Frisbee games. That's all that there is. And then we have this stadium for the high school at this high school for semis and finals. And again, where there is no pomp and circumstance whatsoever. There is literally so much more that could be done. You can't even go through the list. Like, even just having like a halftime entertainment option during finals would be a step forward from what is essentially nothing right now.
Yeah, Charlie, there was more pomp and circumstance at Lobster Pot, the fall preseason college tournament I was just at, where there was a Ghost energy drink DJ'd field. It was not on live stream. There was nobody. There were some parents milling about, but like there weren't fans there. There was just straight up a DJ playing songs between points and prior to the game and announcing the score between each point. To whom, I'm not really sure, but it was happening. Which was silly, but fun. I mean, you and I have talked about like, obviously the structural differences between disc golf and ultimate make for very different spectating experiences. I mean, to me, there's aside from like, I guess halftime entertainment that you pointed at, like what's the number one social activity you think about for a team sport where a team plays a game? Like, what's the thing that you're like, oh, you're going to go to the blank game. Are you going to do this thing? And it's social activity. I feel like you're going to know what I'm talking about. What is the thing?
Like, you're talking about like a stadium game?
Yeah, but there's a social activity that happens around the stadium game. What will be what is the thing?
You're
going to go to the football game.
Are
you going to
tailgate?
Yes, a tailgate. Like that to me is like the most logical thing is a tailgate like atmosphere. Now the problem is Ultimate starts in the morning and then goes like all day. So like when do you tailgate? That's tricky. I mean, maybe we need to shift how the tournament structured in order to make that work better. But if you could come and meet other fans of the teams you want to and eat food and like socialize, like that feels like what we want to do. And if you can't do it at the beginning of a regular tournament, why not do it before like semis or finals? Like, why don't we have a tailgate before the finals or whatever? Like that could be fun. Be a great atmosphere. I mean, you and I have talked about if you push finals to nighttime and you have an extra half day between them, that is the space
It would be incredible
to do community building, right? You could do, the conversation about equity or meet the CEO. There could be a concert. There could be X, Y, and Z thing. Like there could be food, all those sorts of things. You have a half a day to get excited before the game starts.
People don't like, okay, I hear what you're saying. You're still talking about player experience stuff. Equity meeting the CEO, that is not what random fans want to do, okay? If I am like, I have a kid who plays Ultimate in middle school and I live in Southern California, I want to go to a fun sporting event. I don't want to have a serious meeting. I want to go and be entertained. I want to be able to, sure, yes, you want to watch some Frisbee, of course, but you want it to be fun. You want there to be like a reason to go. You want there to be face painting. You want there to be balloon animals. You want there to be like bouncy house, beer garden. There's a million things. Instead, we're at a high school stadium. You can't even have beer on site. They'll ban you. Like it is just not. This is not the environment we want to create for a fan experience. It's just not even close. The UFA Championship weekend embarrasses USA Club Nationals, embarrasses it from a fan experience standpoint. And I just don't think that it needs to be that way. I don't think that the bar is so high that USA Ultimate can't meet that bar and actually turn this into something that is not just a bigger Ultimate tournament. They do a fine job for creating this as a good event for players. There's almost no effort put into making this a good experience for fans. Like there's no reason to come to the fields and like, unless you like personally know players on the team, it's just not that fun of an experience. Feels like you're at a soccer tournament. Like
there was a network effect to being a fan. Like it's fun to be a fan because you're with a bunch of other people being a fan, but you have to start that somewhere. You have to get some people there so that it's fun to like be a part of the community. I think that's probably like the number one thing, but you have to get the ball rolling. You have been multiple times to the US Open of tennis. And I feel like that is one of the few events that like schedule wise, like feels similar to how an Ultimate tournament is. There's just people playing all freaking day, right? What do they do at those events? Like what makes going to a US Open fun?
Okay. First of all, you can walk anywhere you want. So that has the similar thing going on as Ultimate tournament, right? So you can go and watch any whatever matchup you're thinking about. But they also have stadium seating, tons of food options, tons of places to go sit down and have a drink or have lunch. Like they have like a fancy restaurant on site. I never go to that, but they have really fun cocktails to order, like the Honey Deuce. They sell like 5 million a year or some insane number. It's a fun environment to hang out in. And I've never taken Lewis, my son. There's probably fun kid stuff too, but I haven't like explored that. But you know, you're still there to watch the tennis, but you can go sit in stadium seating at basically any of the courts. There's like places to sit and watch, and you can be up really close. You can sit in the giant Arthur Ashe Stadium and watch the top players in the world have their match. And you know, tennis has the added benefit of being kind of like this like more, you know, you sit quietly and you watch in silence, and like there's like this sort of like there to be seen kind of energy that Ultimate doesn't have. So I do think there's a lot more room for things like concerts. Of course they're putting night games on all tournament, and that's like its own fun environment. So you know, it's like going to a stadium to watch any sporting event. Like it has that same energy, but it's like hard to buy food and you can't drink at USA Ultimate Club National semis and finals. That's crazy.
Batch in the chat points out that it's important that there's always obstructed views. Like the players are always basically like marching up and down the sidelines, making it even harder for fans to see the games. So it's just like a small.
There's few places to comfortably sit, and like you know that's
you can't
not
really
an
sit
easily
anywhere.
solved problem. Yeah, there's not like obvious places for like they could build a giant beer garden area with like a scaffolding thing that had seating and place to get food and drinks and hang out in the shade, and like yeah, like that costs money, but we have to start trying to do this, I think, in order to make this event, which has the potential to be the number one drawing like Ultimate event in the country, actually fun for people besides the people competing.
And us.
Right. All I ask for is night games. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's simple. We got to get the finals has to be at night. Come on. Let's get it out of hand.
All right. Great stuff. Super excited for Club Nats. I will beat my spectator drum, but it doesn't take away from how exciting this is as a fan of the Ultimate itself. And we hope to present that to you in the best way possible if you're not able to join us on site in San Diego. So for Keith Raynor, I'm Charlie Eisenhood signing off. Don't miss our bonus pods out the back, which we'll be doing live during Nationals. We'll have at least a reacts following quarters and probably after semis as well. So we'll talk to you from San Diego, everybody. See you out there. And Club National starts in 3 days.
On the